this idea that that you are going to appeal to a system that you don't believe in, right? All these people I see constantly, everybody I talk to, which is not, I'm not accusing anybody we talk to of doing this specifically because they don't, but I like all of our friends in one way or the other have their own way of being very distrustful of the system, right?
Sure.
And none of these guys double dip into they don't make this mistake, but I see everywhere
a strong distrust of the current authorities, we shall say.
Yeah, strong distrust of the current authorities. And there's all this strong distrust of the current authorities, and then everybody gets mad when the current authorities don't act in a way that they feel
they should.
And you're going, well, okay, so you do. It's that in the movie The Big Short, there's a scene where Ryan Gosling is talking to the hedge fund that he's interacting with, and they're all super angry, and Ryan Gosling leans up and he goes, listen, guys, you're acting like you put on this front like you're these cynical people who don't trust the system anymore, but look, you're sitting right here upset that the system is doing exactly what you claim you know it does. So why are you mad? And why are you operating as if you need to operate within the rules of the system, which are corrupt anyways? So, like, if you think that immigration is a problem and that politicians are doing that on purpose and that jobs are inflated by corrupt government practices and creating fake jobs and all, if you agree with all this stuff that we talk about on this show all the time, if you agree with that, then why are you going to LinkedIn or to Indeed and just doing the application, sending it in like a good boy, and then making having no effort to bypass the system you think doesn't work? That sounds like you think the system works just fine to me. That's what it sounds like.
Apply, receive job.
Apply, receive job. Yeah, that's what I was told I could do. I'm a good boy.
Podcasting.
Hello, everybody.
Hey!
I cut him off.
Hey!
You weren't expecting to hear my voice first.
Not how we usually do it, but today's a little different. Watch. How different is today? Watch this. Can you hear this, Substack listeners? Ooh.
Crisp one.
A crisp one. This is rodeo cool now because it's been sitting under the table for an hour. Because Jason and I set up here.
I got at a grocery store, this energy drink, and it was on the shelf because I didn't see the flavor I wanted in one of their teeny tiny little fridges, unfortunately. But it is what it is.
It is what it is.
It's all right for being room temperature.
That's good enough.
It'll do the job.
I do like a rodeo cool beer every now and then.
It depends on the beer. Some of them are, beer used to be, before refrigeration, it was supposed to be a room temperature or cool, like cellar cool.
Yeah.
Because it was also like a live culture, is my understanding of it. So like Real Ale, for which Real Ale Brewing, I believe, is named, the actual brewery in Central Texas, I think.
I don't know.
Anyway, they make some good stuff. Real Ale Brewing. Shout out. But back in the UK, like micropubs are starting to go back to like real ale. That's like, it's one keg, they tap it, they drink it in a couple few days, and then it's done. And they're smaller kegs too. But it's apparently, and they serve it more at room temperature or just slightly cool, but it's not refrigerated. So it's not shelf stable, in other words. You could not ship it.
Right.
So it's you have to have it there locally and in small batches.
Yeah.
And apparently it's worlds different from anything in a can or a bottle. So I'm like, if I ever go to the UK, I am definitely going to try out some micropubs. There was a small documentary, I think, on YouTube about, no, it wasn't on YouTube, but you can find it, it was about micropubs making a resurgence and taking back some of the market shares.
You talked about this before. Yeah,
because all the big pubs pushed them out with legal reasons. They you couldn't have a small neighborhood pub where families could go and just hang out.
Yeah.
It was like a water cooler for the village, basically.
Right.
That was where you got the town gossip.
Yeah, the scuttlebutt.
For lack of a better, not gossip, but just
the
figured out what was going on.
Figured out what's going on.
Scuttlebutt?
What's
Thank
down
you.
low?
That's a better word.
What's the down low? Yeah.
There's our episode title, Scuttlebutt.
Scuttlebutt. There we go, baby. Cranking them out.
Yeah. Could do this all day.
Could do this all day. Guys, welcome to Work Hard. I'm your host, Ethan. With me is the other host.
Jason.
Jason.
How's it going, everybody? Glad to have you back. Thanks for watching.
Yes.
Go ahead and throw us a subscribe if you like it. And if you like it, then obviously like it.
Yeah.
It's just one more click, a finger tap. It's super easy. I've done it several times with very little. I don't usually miss and hit the dislike button. Sometimes you fat finger that.
Well,
you can undo it, though.
I guess it's a risk, 50-50 shot. You might hit the...
True.
Yeah, so maybe don't touch any button. Maybe don't touch anything.
Try. It's all right.
Just try. Just take a shot at it.
That's all right.
Yeah. I need a second, dude. I need a second.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm fuming. Okay, I'm fuming.
Mm-hmm.
I had several internet interactions this week.
Oh, did you?
And an interaction personally that made me unwell. Put me in a unwell mental state.
Mentally unstable,
Mentally unstable, which is kind of already my general predisposition. So mentally unstable means I'm going to live in hell for 3 days.
Going to be unapproachable at church tomorrow.
Somebody else may have decided that for me, but what am I going to say? There's some report or whatever about job searches.
Okay.
And number of resumes submitted versus actual jobs accepted. And they're radically disproportionate, like 1,000 job applications per person, 1,000 job applications for job accepted. So it takes 1,000, like 750.
Gotcha. What their claim is that you have to apply 1,000 times before you actually get accepted.
Right, before you can, yeah. So you'll get like out
or
of
even
1,000,
interviewed?
you'll get, even interviewed. So like get a job, statistically speaking, you have to apply to 1,000 jobs before you'll get one. Okay, rough, right?
Not good odds.
Not good odds, and
that's a lot of grinding.
Yeah, and so a lot of these gentlemen online.
It's hard to raise a Pidgey.
What's a oh yes yeah
on level 2 Reddit.
Yeah,
it takes a long time.
It takes a long time. There's hopelessness in the air, and that bothers me deeply. All right, I was in a bad way. I've been in a bad way a couple times, job wise.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in the putting 1,000 resumes in type situation, and I had a phone call this week with a recruiter.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not really looking for a job, but I am looking for a job, kind of a light thing.
The right job.
Yeah. I'm looking for a very specific job if I'm going to go back to work. I want something very specific. And I had a recruiter call me, and this is just I'll give both sides of this. So this recruiter called me, and it was just like manic gay guy called me and was like, "Hey, what's going on?" And like for real said the line, what's the I sent you the compensation package. Tell me what your preferred compensation is. I told him, and he said, "All right, preferred compensation for this is whatever. It's about 10K shy. Do I still have you on the phone?" And I was in the car like this, rubbing my finger. You guys can't see the camera, rubbing my nose, like sitting like.
You're not picking up.
Yeah. And I'm not. Okay. Well, I'll have to stay. Something's going on with my mic, so I'm going to stay right on it. But am I picking up on it like this?
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay. So, but
apparently,
as soon as I leave,
for some reason, Ethan speaking away from the microphone doesn't pick up all of a sudden.
Interesting. Whatever. Well, so I'll just be disciplined about that.
I may have also been looking at the wrong line, and it was mine. So you might be fine. Go ahead. They all heard that. They're like, I don't know. What is Jason on?
Yeah. All right.
This orange cream.
Yeah. It's getting
to my brain.
So this guy's, do I still have you on the phone? I go, yeah, whatever. It's 10K difference, dude. Just tell me what's going on.
Yeah.
And so he goes, it's, base pay, whatever. For you guys that don't know, I'm in sales. So I work for a commission. That's what I do, right? I get half of my paycheck is a base salary, and then the other half is from a commission paycheck. And so he starts talking about the base salary, how it's really low, and they know that, but they do this. Dude, I mean, we're on the phone for too long for me to tell this story in detail.
Okay.
To describe what he was saying, but I mean, he barely asked me about myself. Show up and throw up. Exact opposite of what you want to do in sales, right? He's like a sales recruiter, so he's like, so, it's not a good vote of confidence that this guy's calling me acting like a retard for his company, because it's like,
right.
I need to know that when I get there, you guys are going to have your stuff together so I can actually sell something.
Right.
You got a dude on cocaine calling me, acting like a spaz.
This guy can talk. Put him on the phone.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, and that's the death of all sales. This guy can talk. Put him on the phone.
Yeah, but he talks.
Yeah. There's not a lot of listening.
And it's like this.
Yeah, it's like this, and he goes, well, do I still have you on the phone?
Did you hear a click?
Yeah. Did I hang up on you, brother? And so he's giving me this whole spiel, big sales pitch about how we had our old sales team, and they didn't do very well, but everybody I recruited, all the guys who wanted to grind, who really wanted it,
yeah,
they did great. They blew out all their numbers, hit accelerators, making all this money, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And so they, our philosophy now is that we have this low base pay to weed out guys who don't want to go get it.
Okay.
But then, they want to hit their accelerators and make a bunch of money.
Right. So there's a lot more compensation for grinders.
Right. For grinders. Right. And then everybody's happy because you're making money. We're paying you out of the money you're making us. Everybody's good. Right.
Right.
Which is kind of the premise of sales in general. So it's already kind of redundant to say something like that. But
tell me something I don't know about sales, sir.
Yeah. Name another individual at your company who's speaking to the CEO of one of the largest, like your customer, one of the largest companies on planet Earth. How many of your employees that are directly having a conversation with that individual is paid $100,000 a year without
selling anything?
Right. Like you're just going to walk away from that conversation for $100,000 a year if you don't sell anything. What other employees involved in that interaction are paid at that level? None. They're all making base to 152, something like that. So you got a sales guy who's coming in. If he doesn't, he's got skin in the game. If he doesn't close the deal, then he's not getting paid out. He's just spent maybe a full-time job's worth of time talking to this dude, and he gets paid nothing. So it's already like that. So to say that, it's a little redundant, and that's the pitch of every sleazy boiler room sales floor type organization ever.
Gotcha.
And so,
but he's hoping it's fresh to you.
Which is crazy. And I checked him. I was like, dude, listen. I interrupted him. I was like, hey man, listen. I took this call because I'm trying to take a step back. All right, I'm a senior sales executive at a strategic level. Okay, I've worked very large deals at the biggest companies on the planet. I need to take a step back. I need to stop traveling. I need to be around my family, and I've got a business I'm trying to run. And so I just don't have time to go do that. So that's why I'm looking at one of these mid-enterprise plays, one of these positions, so that I can have more time in the day. All right. So you can stop. I don't know what you're trying to do, but I'm not a 23-year-old kid who just graduated from college. You're not going to hit me with all this stuff.
Yeah.
So I didn't tell him all that, but I just said, hey man, I'm a senior guy.
Yeah.
How about this? It's a great story. Love the story. Great pitch. Send me the numbers. And he was like, what do you mean? And I was like, you're talking about this great accelerator package you guys have, so that if you're a real grinder, you're going to get paid on the low end for not working, but you're going to get paid high if you do put in in hours. Great. Send me the accelerator package. I want to know what happens if I hit quota and go above that.
Yeah.
If I'm grinding, I want to know
what
the
exactly
numbers.
happens.
Yeah, what exactly happens? And he was like, oh, well, I don't know if I've tried that before. They've not approved it. I've not gotten approved to share those numbers.
What?
You probably have to sign an NDA. And I was like, I'll sign an NDA. I don't care. I was like, I'm under NDA right now with like several logo. Like I can't legally talk about several conversations I had with companies I can't name because I'm under NDA. I'm currently I have no problem with an NDA.
Yeah.
I'll sign an NDA. I don't care. And he was like, okay, well, how about this?
He's like, that didn't work.
Yeah, he was like, what if they come back and they say we're not going to give you the numbers until we get to interviews? Will you at least take the test? And they want me to take a test. All right, Like, go on and take like a personality test, which I'm not going to do.
A personality test?
Yeah. And he was like, and I said, how long is the test? And he said 35 minutes. And I said, is it 35? Are you saying it's 35 minutes and it's going to take me an hour, or is it really 35 minutes? And he was like, it's really 35 minutes. And I was like,
nope.
So it's not. For sure it's not. Yeah. And
that's what the computer says it is.
yeah, that's what the computer says it is. Yeah. And so I was like, all right, man,
Take
listen.
this 30-second take 30 seconds and leave us your feedback.
Yeah. I was
no.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, listen.
10 minutes later.
Leo, buddy, chill out. All right. Here's what you're going to do. Take my resume. You show it to the hiring managers. All right. If they want to talk to me, I will talk to them. If we go to interviews, they want to talk, send me the numbers. I'll sign an NDA. We'll be good to go. Okay. I will talk to you. I'm not taking a test. I'm not doing this. Get back to me on that. And he was like, okay, yeah, for sure. But if they agree, like you'll interview with us. And I was like, yeah, of course, man, whatever. But I want to see the numbers. I'm not taking a test. I'll talk to whoever. Yeah. And he was like, okay, I mean, that's policy, like that's the whatever. So,
okay. Someone wrote it. Someone can override it.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, yeah, that's great. I mean, Leo, I just told you what's going to happen.
That depends on how much you want me.
Either I'm not taking the test or I'm not working here. Like you make the decision. Don't know. And he was like, okay, all right, man, I'll get back to you. And that was, I think, like Tuesday, nothing.
Yeah.
So
they didn't approve it.
Yeah. So I feel you guys. I know it's rough out there. I know I can't imagine it. Well, I can because I was in that spot. I was 22, 23, 24 trying to find an entry-level job, and you do have to slog and like get through guys like Leo calling you and just nutcases calling you and shucking and jiving and giving you bull crap, and you get in a bad position and you're in whatever. But that's just the nature of starting a career out, man. It's just you're going to have to kind of kiss the ring if that's what you want to do. If you don't want to kiss the ring, then go do something else.
Find something else.
Yeah, find something else. But the main message that I have right now for guys that are out there working, because I'm now aware that this is like starting to spread in the population amongst young men. The alternative, a lot of the guys were saying, I have families. They were getting mad at me because I was saying, what are you going to do? Give up? Like, you're going to see this number, you're going to complain, and then what are you going to do? Give up? And their response is, well, we have families to feed. We have whatever. This isn't sustainable. Yeah, I'm not saying it's sustainable, but you do have a family to feed. Like, if you have a family to feed, what are you going to do? Give up?
Yeah. That's not an option.
Yeah, sounds like you've got 1,000 resumes to submit. You should get to work.
Probably stop complaining online about how hard it is.
Right, yeah. Yeah, you should be spending your time submitting resumes.
Don't spend your time griping on Facebook or X.
Yeah.
About how difficult everything is.
Yeah, and it's like here the people have to submit 1,000 resumes because they're retarded. Okay? Submit one resume, go on LinkedIn, find the hiring manager for that position, or someone that sounds like they have a title that's relatively close to the hiring manager of that position, and tell them you just applied for that job. And say, I would like to speak to somebody over there. Is that possible? And guess what? They're not going to message you back. They're not going to message you back 20 times. But then on the 20th time, someone is going to message you back. And they're going to say, go talk to this person. Or that is me. Let's talk. Whatever. And then, all of a sudden, you went from having to submit 1,000 resumes to 20. All right? Yep. That's the way of the world. Okay? You cannot escape that.
Yeah, no, I was taught when you go and apply at Papa Murphy's or Dutch Brothers or whatever, you turn in your resume and you don't just sit and wait.
Right.
You go follow up. Hey, I turned in a resume or an application last week. I was wondering if you guys have gone through that yet, or if I could talk to who's in charge. I'm just checking on my application status.
Yeah.
Who can I talk to about that?
Yeah.
Be bold about it, be assertive, and put yourself out there, because 95% of other people aren't going to do that.
Yeah.
And don't do it just once. Go back every single week until they say we're not hiring right now.
Right.
Then why did you put out an application?
Yeah, or we filled the position. Okay, great.
We filled it. Fine. Okay. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Don't go back there.
Yeah.
But make your rounds.
You need to
apply to however many places you want to work at, and then follow up routinely with them. Put it on your calendar and follow up, because you are showing more initiative than anybody else.
Yeah.
And they're going to recognize that, like, golly, nobody ever comes in and asks about their application. We just get a bunch of dud applications with people who have spelled their own names wrong, apparently. Yeah. Or they have parents who gave them terrible spellings of names, traditional names.
Yeah. Yeah. Her name is Haley with 2 G's and an I.
Yeah.
Yeah. Her name is Haley.
Sorry, Hale.
Yeah.
We're not hiring.
Yeah.
We filled the position.
Yeah. Listen, this is a very common like sales thing, and this is kind of why I'm a big advocate for like all young men getting out of college and like going to work like a grinder of a sales job, where you have to kind of figure some of these things out on your own. If the company, if anybody, if there are rails, if it's like, this is how you get the job, you go to college, you do this thing, then you apply, and then you talk to us, and we say this, and then you say that, and then we do this, whatever. That is the same instructions you have gotten, or that everyone else has gotten, okay? Everyone else is doing that. That's what everyone else is doing, okay? Now, you throw into the fact that most of these job listings are fake because these companies are forced to do that by the government. They're forced to post a job opening, even if they know they're going to hire internally from somebody else.
Gotcha.
So the HR will force them to go through rounds of interviews with people from outside the company, so that
they don't intend on hiring.
They don't intend on hiring any of them. The hiring manager already knows the kid he's bringing in.
Yeah.
It's his friend's son, which is, by the way, that's not nepotism. That's how business is done, guys.
Because you know that person.
You know that person. Yeah, you believe that there's a better chance this guy is going to do. There's some social costs for the guy who's making the reference. There's more social costs for the son because he doesn't want to let his dad down. Everybody's got more skin in the game. It's just better. Okay? Sorry, humans like connection. All right? It's not nepotism. Well, maybe it is, but it's good. All right? It's good. So
on that level, there are instances of nepotism that are decidedly
corrupt.
not good, where you have an idiot who gets in because his dad is like, hey, he needs a job, you know, and it's more for the dad assuaging his own ego that he didn't raise a crap son.
Yeah, and there are examples of that, right? But
sure, those are the ones that get popular.
Yeah,
but by and large,
operating like that's the standard is going to get you killed.
Right, and also, what do you do when you need a tradesperson to come to your house? A plumber or whatever?
Yeah.
Do you just look up the first one you find in the phone book and call that? You only do that if you have no community that you trust.
Right.
Otherwise, you go and ask, anyone know a plumber?
Yeah.
That wouldn't steal your kitchen sink?
I'm in desperate need of a landscaper right now.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting for two young guys who have never done landscaping before, but are decided they want to take a swing at it from the church.
Yeah.
I'm waiting till next week.
One of them has.
Okay. All right. Sick. Well, either way, I'm waiting for them to be ready to come do landscaping so that they can come do it, so that I don't have to call somebody I don't know.
And I can attest for the other one.
Okay, great. Yeah. Excellent.
As to his work ethic.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, then, and I told them, they were like, what do you want us to do? I was like, just whatever. I don't care. Just
make it look nice.
Yeah, pick a rate, come over, I'll pay you whatever.
I'll tag the
let
stuff
this
you
be your
shouldn't cut
experiment.
down.
Yeah. Let this be your experiment.
Don't cut this down.
Yeah. So it's beneficial to the other guys too, right? Because they get the extension of knowing that they're coming into friendly territory.
Yeah.
They're coming into a man they know in
they
his
can build
home.
their resume now.
And so the nepotism, the relationship, that's very helpful to them, because I don't
that's just
really
community.
care.
That's not nepotism.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah,
you hire people you know.
Yeah. And they're going to they are going to get experience. I'm going to be way more. If I just hired some random Mexican guys to come over and they messed my yard up, I would be livid. But if they come over and mess my yard up, I'm not really going to care that much.
Well, especially if you hired a quote unquote professional.
Yeah.
With like a logo on the truck.
Yeah, and they show up and mess my yard up. Yeah. But
and then you can't get a hold of them.
Yeah.
After that.
Yeah, exactly. They're just gone.
Yeah. It's like, when you go to church with these guys, you're going to see them again.
Yeah.
So they're far more motivated to do a good job.
And then fix it if they do a bad job.
And then fix it if they do a bad job. Also community.
Yeah. Also community.
Fix your problems.
Yes.
You talk to somebody you have an issue with, and then they talk back to you and you figure it out.
Yeah. So it's just,
as opposed to go, I'm never going to call them again.
Yeah. So listen, if you're gonna, this is one of the things that I think is gonna help us. We said we were going to do a better job of not doing these long intros, but I think
that's what this was.
Yeah.
Did you not get the hand gesture?
Oh, that's what this was.
That's what this was.
I thought you were making a comment about Leo's insanity.
No.
Oh. Okay. Well, then we'll just bleed it all into one thing. We'll make it all one. We'll make it all one episode.
Okay.
This idea that that you are going to appeal to a system that you don't believe in, right? All these people I see constantly, everybody I talk to, which is not, I'm not accusing anybody we talk to of doing this specifically, because they don't. But all of our friends, in one way or the other, have their own way of being very distrustful of the system, right?
Sure.
And none of these guys double dip into it. They don't make this mistake. But I see everywhere
a strong distrust of the current authorities,
yes,
we shall say.
Yeah, strong distrust of the current authorities. And there's all this strong distrust of the current authorities, and then everybody gets mad when the current authorities don't act in a way that they feel
they should.
They should. And you're going, well, okay, so you do. It's that in the movie The Big Short. There's this scene where Ryan Gosling is talking to the hedge fund that he's interacting with, and they're all super angry, and Ryan Gosling leans up and he goes, listen, guys, you're acting like you put on this front like you're these cynical people who don't trust the system anymore. But look, you're sitting right here upset that the system is doing exactly what you claim you know it does. So why are you mad? And why are you operating as if you need to operate within the rules of the system, which are corrupt anyways? So, like, if you think that immigration is a problem and that politicians are doing that on purpose and that jobs are inflated by corrupt government practices and creating fake jobs and all, if you agree with all this stuff that we talk about on this show all the time, if you agree with that, then why are you going to LinkedIn or to Indeed and just doing the application, sending it in like a good boy, and then making having no effort to bypass the system you think doesn't work? That sounds like you think the system works just fine to me. That's what it sounds like.
Apply, receive job.
Apply, receive job. Yeah, that's what I was told I could do. I'm a good boy.
Yeah.
So if you don't believe the system works, act like it and bypass the system and go talk to a human being.
Yeah.
Go find, well, there's AI and they filter out all the applications, so you can't even get past the HR department. You can if you do it. You can if you pick up. You know what I did? Here's a tip. All right. It's very cheap. You can go get a Google business email account for like $15 a month. All right. We have one for hyper premium. So I'm looking for a job. I went to seamless.ai. All right. And I put in my business email to get a free trial. Now Seamless calls me every other day. I told them don't call me. They keep calling me. It's fine. Whatever.
Beware.
They have a software that scrapes the internet for people's contact information. So you can go on LinkedIn, find somebody that works at this company you want to work at. They have a position that looks relatively close to your position. Go to Seamless. Pay $15 a month to get this Google thing, get a free copy of Seamless. It's 50, you get 50 tokens, so you can look up 50 different people, find this person's contact information, and then call them on the phone. That's what the last time I got a job interview, all right, there was a competitor of my old company. I thought, this would be a good fit.
You talked to a bean, a real life
I talked to a real being. I talked to a real human being. I applied to the position, right? I submitted my resume. Then I got on Seamless. I went and I found every one of the sales directors at the company. I found all the phone numbers for all the sales directors at the company, and I spent the entire morning calling each one of them until I found the one that was hiring for the role I was looking for. And I got the interview that day, the same day that I submitted the resume.
Hey.
Now we decided, after talking to them, I was like, not a good fit. And they were like, we want somebody that's like better with SLED. And I was like, it's not me. I don't really want to learn. Like, they were like, all right. I mean, if you don't want to learn, it's not good. I was like, yeah, all good. So we just split. So
we parted friends.
We parted as friends. And I've had several interviews. I've had several interviews with companies in the past 2 or 3 months where I've been like, I'm not feeling the pressure right now to come work. I've got a solution for income. I don't need to get a job right now. It's going to come eventually, that I'll probably need to get a job for a few months, but right now I don't really need one. And if it's not the right fit, I don't really need to be there. And so I've had that conversation with multiple managers, and they've been like, yeah, man, I mean, it just sounds like you're just not
what we need right now.
You're not what we need right now. We're not what you need right now.
Yeah.
And we just go, all right, sick. We friggin' fist bump over Zoom. We go, peace out. And they say, hey, and they'll always follow up with, all right, for
anything
real
changes.
Yeah, they'll be like, if anything changes, hit us up. And if we get something that actually matches what you need,
we'll call you.
I'm going to call you. And I go, yeah. And they go, can I please call you? And go, yeah, absolutely, call me. And then we split. And it's good, right? And so now I've got a network of people over the past 2 months. I've got like 30 people that I can call. Like, hey, you know what? Actually, it's changed. You guys still got that seat open. You got a new one open. I kind of, I'm kind of down for anything, whatever now. So I'm ready to go. The system, if the system doesn't work, all right, and you believe that the system doesn't work, why are you appealing to the system? Why are you appealing to the system? I mean, that's a simple question. My suggestion is that you are appealing to the system not because you believe it works. I think you don't believe it works. I think you don't want to do anything, and you want the excuse of it being someone else's fault that you couldn't succeed. So you get it's a double win for you. You don't have to do anything, and you're not a bad person for failing.
Because you tried.
You tried the way they told you to try.
Good faith effort.
Yeah, good faith effort. I didn't get a job, so now I get to just do whatever it is whatever your alternative is. I don't know. I mean, I have an alternative. I don't think you do at 22. I didn't. So,
nope.
Yeah, I didn't have a way out at 22. Now, at almost a decade removed at 30, I have an alternative to employment. But it took me a decade to save the money to do that, to make that move. So. I think it is. I've said this a million times. You're right. You guys are right. We are in survival mode. Things are bad. But you know what that means? It means we're in survival mode. Okay? It means if this was a farming situation and the farming wasn't going great and if you didn't raise the food, you died. If you stood on top of the soil and shook your fist at it and complained about it not growing the right kind of food well enough, you know what would happen? You and your whole family would starve to death, and the guy that was over there trying to figure out how to get land irrigated or what, I don't know, whatever, he's fine. All right? So what are you going to do?
They go hungry a bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
They tighten their belts and they get through the hard times.
Yeah. What are you going to do? What are you going to do about it? Things are bad. What are you going to do about it? That's my question to you. And my heart, Jason and I were just having this conversation just now. We're an hour delayed on our schedule because we were having this conversation for so long. I cannot stress how much my heart goes out to young men. You guys, I was there, all right? I was if you're 22 right now, you're at a time where we're kind of coming out of it, all right?
All right, sorry about that. I forgot to delete the old file on the SD card, so it ran out of memory. Because episode, it would fit too, except the last episode was an hour and 45 minutes. That's why it didn't just continue on, because usually we would have 2 on there.
Okay.
It just barely fits 2 hours, I think.
Okay.
Anyway.
So it is my fault in a roundabout way. It's my fault for taking too long last time. I'm joking. I'm giving you a hard time.
Yeah, no.
One day we'll just actually have it so that the camera records directly into the PC, so this won't be a problem.
All this is going to be a distant, fuzzy, and unpleasant memory.
Yes. Yeah.
Eventually.
What was I saying? Oh.
You were talking about Trump getting elected for the first time, I think. So start that part over, because I think that's what I actually would have had to cut out.
Okay. So my heart goes out to young guys, and I don't mean to undermine your suffering or make it sound better than it is, but when I was 21 and 22, when I was starting out, this show and anything like it, mostly anything like it, because this show obviously doesn't have a massive audience yet, but we wouldn't even have gotten to the point we've gotten to before we were just completely deleted off of everything. Like we would have gotten caught by the algorithm for saying the N-word or something or whatever, and YouTube would have deleted everything, and the channel would have been banned.
Oh, the whole channel.
So
would have been
none of
shut
this
down.
would have gotten out. You never would have heard this. You never would have heard any. You would have. What the point is that I was saying is that we were suffering in silence.
Because things were locked down way
harder, and we were suffering in silence. We were suffering by ourselves. It was like Jordan Peterson's lectures.
Just to clarify, that is not a defense of using the F word or the N word, but that's, if you're not aware, there was a lot of conservative channels on YouTube shut down heavily for saying non-offensive things, but things were not, like Blue Collar Logic was one of them.
Yep.
Got their videos demonetized constantly for being under review, so they would miss all the massive influx of views at the front end of when you upload, because then after that it trickles off and it's almost nothing later on. People don't go back and watch old content very much.
Yeah.
And so they would lose pretty much their whole revenue from that video if anything flagged.
Yeah.
So just super, super sensitive flagging. Not even stuff like the N-word, but just you said something that they didn't want people to hear. It was, possibly disinformation or whatever.
Yeah.
And we can't possibly let anyone hear anything that's not 100% true.
Right. And so, the intellectual and philosophical and theological infrastructure that we have today to reference, to kind of make the points that we make here, and that the broader kind of, young men self-improvement kind of crowd makes and references, that didn't exist. We didn't have the words. We didn't have the word woke. We didn't have the word toxic femininity. They had the word toxic masculinity. We didn't have any. We had nothing, right? And so we were still in the throes of just getting beaten. All right, we were at the peak of getting beaten when I was 20, 21, 22. Now, I think we're coming out of that, and so there's less pressure. I'm not saying that's what I'm saying is that my heart goes out to you. I understand where you're coming from, and I don't want my sort of fervent encouragement to force the world to look the way you want it to look. I don't want you to interpret that as me being callous or not understanding your situation, because I understand it. Okay. I understand the hopelessness. I understand the fear. I understand the lack of identity, and I understand I understand the pain of being dismissed. I understand the pain of having your nature be what you are at a base level, what you are being described to you as evil. I think you guys are having to face something a little bit more nefarious because we are kind of back on the upswing and things are skewing a little bit more in the masculine direction. I think you are having to deal with a lot of people who would have 5 years ago, 10 years ago said, yes, feminism, femininity, this stuff is rampantly unchecked. We need to scale it back, whatever. Those people who would have agreed with that are now seeing the fruits of that labor, are now seeing young men speak up for themselves and take charge. And the young men of that era grow to my age and your age, where we're like starting to kind of have families and have a little bit of power and sway. And now we're in this situation where it's like financially we're kind of untouchable, so we don't really care what people think about us, or we can just kind of say whatever we want.
You don't have to worry about getting fired.
Yeah,
or like back in the day when
that was a huge problem.
You said you posted anything on Facebook that was controversial and they could find it and fire you.
One girl at your office took offense to it or whatever. I remember during COVID, before the lockdowns happened, I got back from my honeymoon and I was really quite upset about having to be back in the office and working. And it was one of those, it was the job where I was still going in. It was better, but not as good. I was still crying in the bathroom. It was this job. Okay. And I go in, I'm upset. And then COVID starts happening and people start shutting offices down. And I have this flame of hope where I'm like, oh, they're going to send us home. I'm going to get to be at home at least. and
shut down my office.
Yeah. And I loved it because there was this woman. I'm fat. All right. I know I'm fat. I know what I look like. Okay. Now I'm fat. I'm calling this woman fat. All right. Okay. So imagine how fat this woman is. We're talking like a Kia Sorento sized individual. Okay. She set just perfectly enough to be in my peripheral vision, but not fully in my vision. So in order to actually see her fully,
how could she possibly be on?
That's true. How could she be anywhere but where I can see her? That's a good one. Yeah. Yeah. Very true. But she would just sit.
Your mama's so fat that when she walks around the house, she walks around the house. Or sits around the house, she sits around the house.
That's pretty good. This woman would sit and snack like a cow next to me.
Oh, that's unpleasant.
On crunchy carrots, right? She was always eating like carrots. in her head, she's like, I'm eating vegetables, I'm doing whatever. She's dipping it in ranch, so it's like
okay.
tens of thousands of calories a day.
I was like, oh, she's trying good for her. Maybe there's something else going on.
Had she been trying, I would have been like, sick, love it, great. But she was deceiving herself.
Right. Well, they're fat-free. It's fat-free ranch.
It's
like,
fat-free.
doesn't matter.
Yeah, and that's
worse.
Worse.
That's
worse. Way worse.
If you ate fattening ranch.
It at least have some nutritious value.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Your body would take the fat and take it a long time to digest it, but now you're just like immediately storing your fat-free ranch as fat.
Yeah, and so she'd eat these baby carrots, which are carrots.
Thanks a lot, food. Thanks a lot. Fat-free yogurt and all that crap.
Yeah.
That's a whole episode.
So I'm sitting there, I'm tortured by this fat lady. I've got another person sitting close to me that's got
chewing cud the whole time.
Yeah, chewing cud the whole time, throwing up in her own mouth, chewing it. And then you've got this other lady sitting next to me, directly next to me, who's constantly going out smoking cigarettes, like cigarette break every 30, 45 minutes. Now listen, not dogging on cigarettes. I love me a good ciggy every now and then. She goes out for every 30, 45 minutes, smokes a cigarette, comes back, sprays. To get
the aerosol.
To get the smell out.
Yeah.
Okay?
You mean to add to it.
Yeah. So now
nothing better than Pall Malls and Febreze.
Yeah. Now I've got Pall Mall. I've got
carrot cut.
Meth smelling.
Carrot cud.
Yeah, carrot cud chewing to my left, and then I've got meth smelling, menthol stinky cigarette with poor people dollar store.
Cologne perfume.
Yeah, cologne perfume aerosol spray next to me, hitting me. So I'm just getting assaulted, sensory assault. All right. So I'm sitting there at my desk thinking,
like, I can't work.
I get to go home. Right. That's what I'm thinking. I get to go home. And they make an announcement. We're not leaving. They make like an official email. Hey, we know it's concerning. We're monitoring the situation. We're not going home. God bless her. This twisted up lady.
Which one? The
just a new lady. There's a new lady. Purple-haired individual.
Okay.
Indian individual.
Okay.
But like American Indian, American accent Indian, like American. Okay. She's ethnically Indian, but she's an American.
Okay.
That is me conceding that you can be ethnically something else and be an American. All right. So for those of you getting your panties in a wad,
the ethnicity does not matter. It matters the mindset and the cultural.
We'll save that. We'll save the particulars of that debate for another day.
Okay. We've been over that in other episodes.
Yes.
Go back and check out the catalog.
Yeah. She gets in a kerfuffle.
Okay.
She organizes a coup of other women in the office, which is a shout out. They did it.
Yeah. They did the thing.
Other women in the office, and they like seize the CEO's desk. Like they're just like full on mutiny at his office. This is dangerous. Whatever. 45 minutes after that, new email. We're all going home.
Oh. Yeah. Don't want the class action lawsuit.
Nope. And who knows what kind of conversation but I mean, she for real, I saw her get the email, get in a huff, stand up, walk heavily into her manager's office, walk heavily out, start going to the desks of all of her friends, getting them all riled up. They all get in a kerfuffle, just a ball of feminine hate. And they're just, it's like the,
indignancy.
No,
I meant as opposed to hate.
The cartoon that you just watched with your kids, not just watched, but the Hound.
Castle in the Sky.
No, the Hound. Investigator.
Sherlock Hound.
Yeah. Where the cops are all following him in a ball like that. Just a chaotic ball. It's just a female ball of just.
Oh, just all one unit. It's a hive mind.
Yeah, just hair and ponytails and painted nails sticking out of this like dusty ball of just total chaotic feminine energy. Just roll into the CEO's office, and he's like, "I'm tapping out."
He wasn't able to close the door fast enough.
This poor Mormon guy just could not. Yeah, he couldn't defend himself. And
I'm not prepared.
I'm not ready for this. I have 6 wives. Wasn't ready for this.
Was he actually Mormon?
Yeah, he is Mormon. All of his boys are Mormon. Like the company's a Mormon company.
We know not all Mormons have 6 wives.
Yeah, but it's fun to say.
It is very funny. Some of the old schoolers do.
Yes. I think some of the new schoolers do too. They get pretty wild over there. Got a great choir though. The
Very nice.
yeah. I don't appreciate that they keep stealing our hymns, but they do sing them well.
Dude, there's these 2 or 3 sisters who sing beautifully. And it took me a long time to figure out that they're Mormon. And they did a, what do you call that when you sing 2 songs basically together? You like merge the, kind of the 2 songs.
Okay.
And they took like a traditional Christian hymn and they took a Mormon hymn about some star in their theology or whatever. And they blended the 2. And I was like, it's a beautiful song and whatnot. And then I finally was like, what is this about? And found out it was a Mormon thing. I was like, I can't listen to this anymore. My kids were like, why can't we listen to the 3 girls? I was like, because reasons.
Because they're pagans.
Because they are pagans. Masquerading as Christians.
Yeah. So they free us, right? This conglomerate, this coalition of young women free us from the tyranny of having to work. And so we all go home and I play Call of Duty till I get fired, basically, is that story. Not really. The story is that I went home and I worked just as hard as I normally work, but now they're actually looking at everyone's performance because they can't sit over your shoulder. So I what would happen was I would hit my numbers every day by like 11 a.m. And then I would just goof off all day at the office like everyone else at every other job on the planet. But now they're looking. And they're not making any money because all their customers are leaving. And they can't say they're doing layoffs because that would hurt the company's image. And so they do what's called a reduction in force or reduction in staff, whatever you want to call it. It's a way to say layoff, but without saying we're doing layoffs. And so they just start finding reasons to fire everybody. So I had like all these people on my team started getting fired, and I was the last one to go. But it's crazy because this dude with half of an arm, all right, my boss had an arm like this. And I don't know if it was like mangled in some sort of incident. That's what it looked like.
Or congenital.
Yeah, it looked like it was.
Accident?
Yeah, it looked like some kind of because there was chunks missing and like you could tell there was like skin grafts and
poor guy.
Yeah, and this dude, he interviewed me when I originally got hired, and he when we walked in, he shook me with his regular hand, shook my hand with his regular hand, and then when we walked out, he shook my hand with his messed up arm to try to see what would happen if he sent me for a loop, which is a despicable little female thing to do.
When you left the company?
No, when I left the interview when I was originally getting hired.
Okay.
So I walked in the room to do the interview.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah. Then I walked out. He shook my hand.
You think it was a test then?
Why would he? He knows he has a messed up little arm.
Okay.
It's not. He's not going, oh, whoops, got you with my strong hand. He didn't do that.
Yeah.
It's
weird.
He knew it. Yeah, it is weird. And so he was a twisted guy. He was a guy.
There were other signs.
His entire essence was, I don't care that my arm is messed up. That was like his entire thing. Like his entire vibe was, I'm not actually sad or self-conscious about the fact that I have this grotesque dinosaur arm. I'm not bothered by that at all.
Okay.
But he very clearly really was. Like it was a deep issue for him. And
yeah, that's sad.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to say that was sad. He was a contemptible person.
He was a twisted person.
Yeah, he was yeah. So he gave in.
It was a metaphor for his soul.
I had something as devastating as an arm getting mangled happen to me, and I don't treat people that way. So what excuse do you have? Like that everybody has their own mangled arm. Everybody's got one. Okay? Somebody lost a dad when they were 3. Somebody got beaten. Everybody's got a mangled arm. All right? It's not an excuse. You don't get to act like that. Yeah. So I get it. I'm sorry you've got a mangled arm.
Sure. The accident's sad. How you've reacted to it and developed your...
Yeah, has nullified any empathy I could have for you.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay.
So I'm just getting demolished, right? So this guy, he starts seeing that I'm hitting my numbers, but I'm doing it in half a day. And so his position is, you need to double your numbers. And my position was, well, then you need to double my pay. And we just went in that circle for a week until he fired me. So listen, the point of all that is that I've been there. Jason's been there. All right. Jason was trying to navigate being a medical professional during COVID in a very liberal area with a family. Impossible odds, an impossible situation.
Single income.
So, single income.
My wife did not work.
Yeah, his wife did not work.
There was no backup. plan.
There was no backup plan. And we've both been in.
Could not replace my income without going back to school or doing something radically different.
Right, which is what you had to end up doing.
Yeah. And moving halfway across the country.
Yeah. And so you can shake your fist at the injustice of that. You can shake your fist at I could get all twisted up and mad that this guy fired me or whatever. But life is hard. What are you going to do about it? That's it. That's the question. That's what you have to ask yourself. That's the thing you have to figure out. Life is hard. Okay. There's never, ever, ever been a time when things are easier. Stefan Malinu, a guy I really like, he's got, just like everyone else, he's got his flaws. It was originally what we were going to talk about this episode. And maybe I'll touch on it a little bit, but maybe not. Stefan Malinu, great, I think a great, paragon of, reason.
Okay.
In a world of clamoring, people like me, people being hyperbolic and saying things all the time that are whatever. Stefan Malinu is, I wish I could be like him, but I'm just not smart enough, so I'm relegated to being a shock jock. Stefan Malinu has this great, what does he have? I forgot what he has. Where did it go?
Great guy.
Where did it go? Stefan Malinu. Where did it go? Dang it. Whatever. It doesn't matter. The thing that I want you to take away from this, here's what I want you to take away. I want you to understand that you have your own challenges, and they are nefarious. What I was saying before I told that story was that I think you guys might be in a little bit more nefarious of a situation than we are because it's so subtle, in that all the people who wanted to see young men treated better are now seeing young men demand better treatment for themselves and are getting very upset at how it looks because it's not as tidy and as feminine as they want it to look. It's not as I've got all my it's not as polite as all my pencils are in my little case and I've got my little thing and we're here and we're going to take my little notes and I'm going to do my little things. It doesn't look like that. It looks rough and rowdy, and there are many ham-fisted individuals coming in demanding that things be changed, putting their foot down. You've got entire families in not states of upheaval, but states of conflict because all of a sudden men aren't taking
orders.
Yeah, they're not taking orders, and so you just
because they realize their leaders aren't leaders.
Yeah, their leaders aren't leaders, but now you have people that you may have grown up thinking this is my guy, this is my champion. Right? Jordan Peterson's great example. This is supposed to be my guy, right? I've always, for years, I was hoping, I even bought tickets to meet him. Didn't go through, we didn't get it, whatever, just the whole thing doesn't matter. But I bought tickets to meet him, and I was like, I'm going to cry when I meet him. I'm for sure going to cry. Thank goodness, it was right before he kind of really went downhill. And so now it's like, I can't even listen to Jordan Peterson anymore, But Jordan Peterson's stuff was the stuff that pulled me out. Yeah. That was the stuff that pulled me out.
He helped a lot of young men.
He helped a lot of young men. And he was supposed to be my guy. All right. Now he's no one's guy now. Okay. He is part of the problem now. And
he shot his base in the foot.
Yeah. He's just old, and he's compromised by particular interests. Shout out Daily Wire. Shout out Ben Shapiro. Wonder what
with the wrong crew.
Wonder what he's motivated by. Wonder what his yarmulke's growing year by year. Have you seen those pictures?
No.
Of his yarmulke slowly getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I wonder what he's motivated by. Jeez. I'm just thinking about Ben Shapiro. He was singing. I saw a clip of him. Chase sent me a video of him, a clip of him singing on his little show that he has. And
that sounds really
he's
awful.
Singing in that guttural, nasty, sort of modern sounding Hebrew. Okay. Which is bad. It just sucks.
Just not.
It's just sad.
I hope the Psalms didn't sound like this.
Bro, I wish
I've heard that the ancient Psalms sound really beautiful.
I would assume the old Hebrew is amazing.
I didn't realize there was that much of a difference.
I don't know that there is. I'm just saying that.
Oh, okay.
It might be. It might sound exactly the same. It's just hard to imagine Jesus going.
Sure. To the Western ear, you're like, no.
God. Yeah. But I wish you guys could understand.
Set this as my alarm for the morning. I'll get up.
When Ben Shapiro.
Oh! Set that across the room. You'll be out of bed in a wink. All right, we're back.
We're back. I wish you guys could have felt the electricity of hearing Ben Shapiro like hit a college blue hair kid in 2016.
Dude,
hearing
back in
Ben
his
Shapiro,
heyday.
hearing Ben Shapiro hit one of these kids with "Facts don't care about your feelings." The first time you ever heard that, dude, tingles down your spine. It's like watching your team win the Super Bowl when that mattered, or like it was just.
Our audience won't get that reference.
Electric, dude. His debate with Rachel Maddow, where he gets Rachel Maddow in a corner about like prison statistics or whatever.
Oh, okay.
And like,
I don't know if I've seen that. I remember him calling the trans woman a man on that one show.
Oh yeah, on that show, and he threatens to. I don't know why I said she. He threatens to put him in the hospital.
A very feminine thing to do.
Yeah, very feminine. Yeah. Physically intimidate a small man. Very feminine thing to do. Dude, he gets Rachel Maddow in this corner. He's about like prison, and he's like, "Oh, so they," and like he hits her with the, "Oh, so you're saying they deserve to be there?" And the whole crowd is like, "Ah!" And the other one half of the crowd is like, "Yeah," and the other half of the crowd is like, "Boo, you suck, you know, whatever." And Rachel Maddow's like, "No, starts like throwing
that's not what I
tantrum.
meant.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
And dude, it feels so good. And now to see what he really is, and to know that, it's so sad. It just hurts. But I get it. I get where you guys are at. Okay, I've seen my heroes fall. I've seen many of the guys that were your guys are gone, and they're never coming back, and that sucks. But
maybe they're our guys, but not our audience's guys.
Yeah, maybe they're our guys. They're not our audience's guys. Maybe you guys got new guys.
Yeah.
I hope you have new guys. It would suck if you don't have any new guys.
That goes back to that heroes thing.
The heroes thing, yeah.
From last episode.
Yeah, which is...
Men need heroes. You need Christ, first of all. As you said last episode, he's the apex example of who we are to be like. But there are examples in literature and in real life, your father, hopefully, or heroes even in movies who, or books who reacted a certain way to difficult circumstances, and that's who you need to emulate.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was that look for?
I was just thinking about whether or not we should leave the missile thing in, but
okay.
we're not.
I've written it down in the book of edits.
It's already over. It's already over.
It's gone.
It's already been written. Yeah, so listen, we're at time.
We didn't do our Rex.
Oh, yeah. You want to do Rex before we call it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That about wraps it up, yeah? Unless you had a last thought.
I mean, I would like to do maybe a closing minute monologue here to kind of...
Sure, that's fine. We'll come
tie
back to
bow
it.
and everything.
All right, so here's the part of the show at the wrong part of the show.
Yeah.
Normally. So if you're new here, this is Between the Couch Cushions, where we discuss old types of media. Usually we go for 20-plus years old, books, movies, TV shows, and music. Whatever we like and think has some benefit that you may not know about or have forgotten about, and you should definitely check out.
Yeah.
Ethan, what is your recommendation this week?
Vanilla World of Warcraft.
Which is not called Vanilla World of Warcraft. Is it?
It's called Classic.
Classic.
Classic. I think that's what it's called. Anyways, you can get I think you can get a subscription for WoW for like the whole thing for like $15 a month, like $5 a month.
As long as you're not that guy who's going to play it so much that he dies, literally.
Yeah. Don't be that.
Don't be that guy.
Yeah, don't lose your life to this. It's a fun thing. It's a fun way to kill a few like an hour or two a week in between whatever you got going on.
Yeah.
But
dip into it and dip out quickly.
Vanilla WoW, that's like its colloquial name. That's the slang for it. Vanilla was really fun. I didn't ever really get like super into it. My parents wouldn't let me play because warriors had rage meters, and they were like, "That's not allowed." And so it's very slow. It's very, very slow, which I think is. I said this about Star Fox last time. I think that's really good, man. I've been playing Oblivion this week. It's kind of they sped the pacing up a little bit when they remastered it, but it's nice that it's slow. You can just turn it on. It's not this like, bah! You're not getting assaulted like when you're playing Call of Duty or Marvel Rivals or whatever game it is you guys are playing. Even like Hunt Showdown, which is a slow game, it's so beautiful, and there's so much going on that it's just like assaulting to some degree. It's a good thing to kind of unwind on. And it is magical. I remember getting to play it, like actually my parents finally caving and me getting to play it, and being just like, oh, you get to tame a bear, and like sitting with my buddy, and we're just like going through it as little kids because we were very young. I don't think we were in, I don't know, I don't remember. We were really young, and it's just good. It's slow. You can play. They made a version of it called Hardcore.
Okay.
So, and that one's really fun because if you die, that's it. Your character gets deleted.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, and so it's
You lose all progress.
Yeah, it's really
Brutal.
fun. It's really fun. So you can,
That's like old school gamer. It's like, nope, there's no save point.
yeah. So it's a lot of fun to
You
play.
start over at level 1.
Hardcore Classic is really fun. Because it's just the challenge is getting to level 60 because that's hard. So it's like you can just do it by yourself. Just get on, play, grind through. You can download these little like ads that help you with the quest that point you to where you need to go. So it's kind of thoughtless. Put this on, put a podcast on, just play and just enjoy yourself. It's very fun. Crack a couple beers. It's a good time. That's my recommendation. Vanilla WoW.
Nice. Okay, my recommendation this week is American Conquest, which was it's a strategy game where you get to play as either there's a whole bunch of Native American tribes from like South America, Middle America, and North America, or 3 European powers and America. So the United States, or I should say just American. I don't think it was the United States at the time because it's American Conquest.
Yeah.
So anyway, America, Spain, France, and Great Britain. So as opposed to other strategy games like, what was that, StarCraft?
StarCraft, yeah.
So like StarCraft, you'd have like a limit of 50 people, or Age of Empires 1 and 2, you had like 50 or 75 people total. This one you could have hundreds or thousands in your army, your military, and your people and villagers and everything. The buildings are capturable, even houses. So even your houses can hold like 5 guys, and you send them in, and they will fire out of it to defend the building. If you go and send archers to attack a building, they will shoot flaming arrows at first and set it on fire, and its life, the building will lose hit points until it eventually blows up.
Yeah.
Or you can send your own guys in, and they will go in and fight the guys who are defending it, kill them off, and then take that building and use it as a strategic point to continue your assault on your enemy. Even your ranged guys, like the archers, they wouldn't fire point blank. When the enemy got to a certain point, they would put away their bow and pull a knife or a sword and go hand-to-hand combat, so they were less powerful that way. And so you actually had to use them like as archers or whatever and keep them in back of your infantry. You also had morale. So your units would lose morale. For instance, if a cannon fired into a bunch of Native Americans who were like a low-level unit and weren't well-trained and they had poor morale, half of them would scatter, and they would just run aimlessly all around the map for a certain amount of time, and you can't control them. They're just gone. They're in the wind. And you have to go pick them up later and bring them back if you want them.
Yeah.
Hills gave you greater range for ranged weapons.
Sick.
So cool. You could train up, higher morale, obviously all the technology trees and everything like that with the different nations. Very cool. My favorite were the Inca, because they're archers. Their archers would always dress in white, and whatever color you chose, they would have like a sash or like a bandolier of that color. And they had like this head turban thing, almost like this crazy headdress. So they were very cool looking, and then they had these long bows and whatnot.
Yeah.
So they were like white with turquoise, which is what I always picked. Anyway, fantastic game. Like full-scale armies that you control. Very nifty.
Very nifty.
Yeah, American Conquest. Check it out.
Nice.
What's your closing monologue?
My closing monologue is just, guys, listen. We're not out of the woods. All right. Everybody knows that. All right. The housing problem is still serious. The employment issue is going to remain a problem. More men are going to church these days than women. The influx into churches is more men heavy.
Gotcha. Because it's been women heavy in churches for some time, right?
Right. Which I think is kind of hopeful because, hey, there's a bunch of girls there. You can go meet them. And you can, by the way, with girls, you can tell them what to believe. All right. Their little thoughts. You can just tell them that's not actually what you think. You can think this way.
Well, you say that as I know
joking.
you're not saying that as a joke.
I am saying it as a joke. It is a joke, all right? Girls they have agency. They are individuals.
They do. There is a range, though, and
Yes,
some of them are.
Listen, here's what I mean, all right? In specificity and the nuance of what I mean is that you have more power to influence a girl's thoughts than you think you do.
Well, and also you are mandated biblically to be the spiritual leader, so you should be the one analyzing the scriptures and saying, no, this is actually what the Bible says.
Yeah.
As opposed to what you feel, So that's how men are built, and that's how women are built, and they have different functions and different responsibilities. It's not decrying women or saying they have less value because they are, Eve was fooled by the serpent and Adam was not fooled. Adam chose deliberately to sin. Eve was tricked into sinning.
Yeah. Yeah, so listen,
Anyway.
I know the waters are still choppy out there, and they're going to be choppy for a minute, and I know that people are still having a really, really hard time with guys acting like guys. All right, we're still having to deal with that. It doesn't mean that it does not give you permission to give in. It does not give you permission to give up. Christ didn't give up. Christ went to hell. He didn't give up. He didn't give up on you. And so you should not give up on yourself. You should not give up on reality. It is extremely important now, more than ever. It is important to sit down and put in your 1,000 resumes or your 20 resumes, however you want to do it. If you want to do it the good boy way, do it the good boy way, but please stop complaining about it. Please stop and just do it. Get the job, get promoted, get into a position of power, and force everyone else to do it your way. Or quit and do what Jason and I are doing. All right, this is the logical conclusion of the 20 resume way. Jason and I just decided that working for somebody else just isn't an option. So we're going to have to do it on our own.
Yeah, we'd rather build from the ground up since God's given us that opportunity.
Yeah.
We'll see if he wants us to go anywhere with it.
Yeah, we'll see. But listen, it's just, it is not give up time. It is go harder time. It is be disciplined time. It is
outthink and outflank and outlast the enemy.
And outfight and just
guerrilla warfare time.
Yeah, just do not give up.
You gotta be cleverer because you're outgunned.
Yeah. And that's what time. And the tides will change, all right? Gandalf is going to come over the hill with the rest of the
reinforcements eventually.
And the sun is going to rise, all right? The sun is going to rise. And it's going to rise soon, I think, very soon. And you're going to enter into your most productive year. If you're 22 right now, you're going to enter into the most productive years of your life, your 30s and 40s, in the midst of an economy that is booming in a way you can't imagine. Now, I do think that there's going to be some pretty dark stuff between here and there, but if you cannot get drafted into some kind of war, which I don't think that's a real problem, but if you can stay in the pocket and survive, whether that's fiscally or physically, if you can survive through the next 5 years, and work your best to develop some kind of skill that will be useful to someone, then when we come out of this, you are going to be in a better position than everyone else because everyone else is going to have given up. So please, I am saying this to you because my heart hurts for you, because I know where you're standing, because I'm so empathetic to your plight, because I know no one else is, even if they think they are. I know they're not. I know that experience. I know what it feels like to just feel completely relegated and unheard. I know what that feels like on its deepest level, and it's painful and isolating and strange, and it's very hard to articulate or even understand the nature of the evil that you're facing. But that evil will lose if you do not give in. All you have to do is keep taking that next small step, whatever that is, whatever little next step God's put in front of you. Just keep taking it. Do not give up. Do not give up. Please, please, please do not give up. I would like to see the ones that I know of you that I know personally. I will be very happy when I'm 40 and you're 30, and I'm watching your kids. I'm watching your kids run around and I'm watching you do well and I'm watching you say things like, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to go back to work. I want to be able to see you in that position. And if you don't give up, you can be in that position. You absolutely can be. And it's not, you don't have to be some magnanimous titan of industry. You don't have to be some kind of genius. All right. I'm a lukewarm temperature IQ guy, room temperature. I'm an average, straight up the middle abilities guy. All right. It's possible. All you have to do is not give up. So please, please, please get a beater car that you don't want to drive that sucks. Rent even though it sucks. You can't afford a house. All right, I know you can't find a wife right now or whatever. That I don't think that that's true, but I know you think that that's true, and that's what's important. So just grit your teeth, do what has to be done to make it, and make it. And
it's easy to feel hopeless when you're in the trench.
Yeah, man, it really, really, really is. But I promise you, the sun is rising, and it is coming for you, and you will get yours.
I will say an example of feeling hopeless from my own past is when I don't know if I've told you this, but I nearly dropped out of paramedic school in like the third quarter.
I didn't know that.
Second quarter. I was starting to struggle in the second quarter because I came back from Christmas break and then found out my girlfriend was cheating on me.
Oh,
no, fiance was cheating on me.
I didn't know this. You've told me this. Yeah.
And then ended up breaking up with her. Was devastated by that. We've been together 4 years.
Yeah.
And then I told this to the head instructor at the paramedic program, looking for some sympathy. And she was like, I look back and I'm like, yeah, I think she probably said the right thing. But at the time I was just blindsided and like, how could you possibly not care about what's happening to me? And she's like, yeah, things happen. You have to keep on going.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. And
she was kind of a hard-bitten person to begin with, not terribly popular with the students, so that didn't help. The reputation wasn't there for her to say something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I also wasn't trying that hard. The other thing she said to me, she paid me a compliment, said you were very intelligent.
Yeah.
But I think you always coasted in school and never actually learned to study because you were able to pass things without too much effort. And now that you're in something that's actually difficult, which is paramedic school and it's intensive, you're kind of in over your head because you've never developed the study skills. You never developed the discipline that you need to apply yourself. And I was like, oh.
Uh-oh.
Ouch.
Yeah.
But anyway, and the pastor who was counseling me at the time of that breakup as well, like I remember sitting in a counseling session with him just like breaking down over this, like my life is over, being a melodramatic queen over it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, how am I ever going to recover? Because that's how you feel when you're in it. You feel like there's no tomorrow. Like my future is gone. She was my future. Gone. Now what am I going to do?
Yeah.
And so you need to not put your emphasis in a girlfriend or whatever. Your emphasis needs to be, I'm serving Christ. And all these hard things do happen for a reason. And the reason for that was God didn't want me to marry that woman. Thank God.
Yeah. Because
I found my wife like a year later.
Yeah.
And I know looking back, I was like, this is a far healthier relationship. The bad relationship helped orient me to what was actually important in a relationship and analyze it and go, wow, I'm glad I didn't end up getting married to that one. That was a bullet dodged because God knocked me out of the way.
Yeah.
Otherwise I would have stood there and got shot up.
Yeah.
So if you're going through a hard time like that, like a breakup, if you're feeling depressed and you feel like you're in the slough of despond like we talked about last time, it's like God has you in there as a training ground. And your pain now has purpose in the future because God will use it to help others. You will be able to help others because of the pain you're going through now, just like I am using my pain from 15 years ago to tell you it's going to be okay if you don't give up. Giving up is not the answer. Suicide is not the answer. Despondency is not the answer. You grieve and you deal with your pain and you unpack you put your boxes aside for a bit to recover from the reeling, and then you get the tools to get through those boxes, you get the help you need, and then you slowly plod forward.
Yeah.
Because we're Protestants and we are going to keep on working steadily towards the goal. And remember, life here is relatively short, even though it feels long when you're in the mess. what is 80 years compared to eternity? Remember that.
Yeah.
What is 80 years compared to eternity? Nothing. It's a blip. It's important what you do here, but it won't last long. It just feels like it when you're being cut apart.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, guys. Listen, we love you. We love you very much. We actually do.
That's the only reason we're doing this.
Yeah, for real.
It's because it's not easy all the time.
No, it is not. We are very happy that we're growing. We really appreciate the new subscribers. We really appreciate the numbers. We thank you guys. We're glad that there are like hundreds of you now joining us for these episodes every week. So I just want to take a second to express gratitude for that.
Yeah, thank you.
We've had a couple people, reach out and say, I need help with this. I need help with that. Can you talk about this? Can you answer this question? If you've got specific things you would like to understand better about yourself or maybe about us or about the world, please email us. We'll do our best to cover those questions. I don't know, stay solid, guys. Stay solid. Don't give in. I think the hen pecking is going to increase in its frequency. But the dawn is darkest just before the dawn type situation. Don't give in.
I think the day is darkest right before the dawn.
The day is darkest right before the dawn?
I think so.
Okay.
I think you said the dawn is darkest. Right
is that? All right, well, whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, you get what he's saying.
You get what I'm trying to say. Guys,
it's a saying, a thing.
We are praying for you, and we really are. I do pray for you. Please, 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 if you are not in a church, go to a church, all right? Get inundated in the word of the Lord.
Email us if you have no idea where to start with that.
Yeah, we can help you there. We will, for real, email us where you are, and we will find you. I will find you a church close to you that I think sounds, based on everything I can find on them, sounds good to start at.
Yeah. Or at least give you tips on what to look for and red flags to go, I'm out.
Yeah.
By the way, the email is workhard@hyperpremium.co. That will also be in the show description box.
Yes.
So
and we are getting ready. This is the last week or second to last week that we are in part-time mode.
It's the last week.
Last week.
So I finish up my conventional job on Wednesday.
Yeah, so you can expect...
So maybe by the time this airs, I'll actually be working my last... You'll probably see this post the day that I am working my last day.
That's cool. Yeah, so we're gonna ramp up here. Things are gonna get pretty serious.
Things are gonna change, and you'll start seeing other kinds of content over the next 6 months as well.
Yeah, like I said, we're gonna, I might go back to work for a little bit. I might not. If I'm not, then we're gonna get real serious, real fast. But we might have to work around my schedule for a little bit. But all that to say, we're ramping up here. So if you've enjoyed what you've seen so far, that's about to get a lot more serious. So please stick around.
Stay tuned. Subscribe if you haven't on whatever platform you like listening on. And please throw us a like, a comment. Email us if you have any questions, comments.
All right, guys. We love you. We're praying for you. Go to church, find a woman.
And have some babies.
We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.